everybody, this is On Screen, Off Screen, show where we like to talk about the media we've consumed throughout the week, why we chose it, how we felt about it, and how it impacted our lives. This is a very exciting week for me. I'm going to go ahead and get us started with my first topic. Should be a fairly quick one. Last week, Conlon talked about the F1 movie and how he was interested in watching F1 because of it. There was a race on Sunday, and I doubt Conlon actually watched it. But if he had, he would have been treated to what is the best race we have had this season.
Dang
The
it.
racing was phenomenal. We had weather changes. We had fights for very important points in the World Drivers' Championship between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. And we had two exceptional storylines. The first one is very similar to what happened at Silverstone last year. In last year, Lewis Hamilton won his final race with Mercedes, last home race with Mercedes, before switching to Ferrari. This year, we had Lando Norris, another British driver, winning there for the first time. So very highly emotional moment for that driver in a very important race for his season. On top of that, we have Nico Hülkenberg, and he has the record for the most race starts and 0 podiums at 261.
Wow.
And he ended that streak on Sunday. He took third place in this race in what is arguably the worst car on grid. He started at the very back of the grid, but due to some very good strategy calls from Kick Sauber and some phenomenal driving, he was able to place it in third. There's kind of a little bit of a sad note, and that is that on the podium, each driver is given some champagne, and it's tradition to spray new drivers to the podium with champagne, and he didn't really get that treatment because that was all focused on Lando, because it was a big race for him as well, and there was 2 McLaren drivers on the podium, so, and like Nico Hülkenberg is older driver, and they're all young, so they don't have that bond either. But it was still, for me, an amazing moment to see him. I've liked him as a driver the entire time I've seen him. It was very awesome. To me, that was the highlight, was seeing Nico on podium. But here's the positive notes. Kick Sauber was so convinced that they wouldn't get a podium, they didn't bring anything to celebrate for even the slightest possibility. So, following the race, Aston Martin sent the entire team cases of champagne.
That is cool.
Mercedes, which was one of Nico Hülkenberg, was a Mercedes Academy driver when he was coming up. They sent cases of champagne and food and a wonderful note to Nico for him to celebrate with his team following the podium ceremony. And Max Verstappen offered to have Nico fly home with him on Max's private jet and throw him a party upon landing. So, like, he wasn't just left out in the rain. It just wasn't televised that these wonderful, wonderful things happened for this incredible driver. Like, this driver, when he first entered Formula One in 2007, was considered the next great talent to Lewis Hamilton. They were both kind of entering. Lewis was kind of already in the sport. He was entering the sport, and they were like, this guy's going to win multiple world championships. He's a phenomenal driver and excellent talent. And he just kept, through bad luck in some, like, he was about to get podiums and had car problems or safety cars or bad things happening, and just kind of floated around with these teams that were never championship contenders, always kind of midfield. And so he had this reputation of just being like this really great driver to help build programs around. He has all this information, but never could quite get there. And now he's been there, and in an exceptional way at a great track. So if Conlon had done that same week, he would have been treated to a great race with some really great storylines.
It's too bad I missed that, because that's really cool. Josh,
Is
that's really cool.
Nico the one I nicknamed Walmart Tom Holland?
No, that's Kimi Antonelli.
Oh yeah, that was Kiwi.
Yeah. Other F1 news, today, actually, as of recording, July 9th, the Red Bull team president was fired, so that team is continuing to crumble. Not this last race, but the race before it, Kimi Antonelli crashed into Max Verstappen. I was expecting a big blow-up for Max Verstappen. He didn't. He turned to Kimi and he's like, hey, it's good. Happens to the best of us. Even though it took Max out of the race. Max is racing for a World Drivers' Championship. He has everything to lose. And he literally got taken out by this rookie driver. And instead of blowing up or throwing a tantrum like he normally does, he was a welcoming, kind person. Which makes me believe the rumors that Max Verstappen is going to Mercedes next year, I believe true. I think we're going to get an announcement here in the next few weeks. Max has signed with Mercedes and George Russell is out. I think it's going to be a Kimi and Max team up.
I was gonna ask if you thought that Max was kind of getting more mature, or nope, just strategic.
I originally was thinking that through his dominance, he seemed less irritable, less on top of things, less, he seemed more forgiving. But the truth is he just wasn't being challenged, so he was bored. Last year, he got some challenges, and at the beginning of this year, he got some challenges and showed his true colors once again. This year, in fact, he was racing George Russell, and they bumped wheels, and George Russell, and Max got ahead, and they were debating on whether or not it was a legal pass or not, and Max's team decided that it wasn't, so they had to switch back and give Max the lead again. But in doing so, Max crashed into George Russell on purpose.
Oh.
Like, straight up, ran into him, and luckily didn't take either of them out. Very tantrum, childish behavior like Electro would do.
Very Electro behavior.
Yeah.
And his name was Max too, so.
It all adds up. It's coming together. No, it's just that thought of him maturing and moving on isn't really there.
Hey, Max Verstappen, I heard that there's a new Spider-Man coming, and they might need a role for you.
He'd probably do a better job. All that being said, to answer your question, no, I don't think he's becoming more mature. I do think he's becoming a little bit more strategic on battles that he chooses. I think he has kind of accepted that he's not going to win the World Drivers' Championship, and has accepted and knows that he's moving on to Mercedes. So he saw that it was Kimi, saw that it was his teammate next year, and decided, this isn't a battle I'm going to fight.
And
Who is likely to win? The drivers.
It's going to be Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, and Max has been with Red Bull since the beginning, right?
He had one 6-race stint with AlphaTauri, their junior team, before they promoted him. But yes, ever since then he's been with Red Bull. Red Bull is kind of on fire right now. They're losing personnel left and right. They just fired their team principal. Max's family wants X, Y, and Z. They're not willing to give it to him, but he's a
Do you
talent.
think
The second driver at Red Bull can't really perform because the car sucks. It's a tricky situation.
Red Bull is on fire and part of it would be because they know Max is leaving? Like, it hasn't been released, but people at Red Bull know this. And they're like, oh, crap,
I
we are
don't think Red
screwed.
Bull knows. I think Red Bull is still trying. I think they
Oh,
fired Christian Horner, to try and show him that we're making changes and they're going to be doing better. I think Red Bull's on fire because of the culture.
okay.
Their culture has been cutthroat, perform or get out for so long, and that kind of mentality can create great short-term benefits. They're one of the newer teams. They've only been in the sport 12 years, 15 years, something like that. They're still fairly new. Of their short time frame, they've been pretty good, if not a top team, over half of the time. So, like, they've had great short-term things, but I think it's created this culture that inevitably always crumbles, and we're at that point where it's crumbling, where they made a deal with Ford to make their engines for next year. It's not looking very promising. You built a car around just one driver so nobody else can drive it. So you're not getting any points from your second driver. You're structured all the way around Max, and Max wants X, Y, and Z, but you're not going to give it to him because power. And it's creating this like very contentious work environment, and a lot of their workers are leaving. And I think Max is going to be the next one to be like, okay, well,
See ya.
I'm going to go over to Mercedes because they're going to give me a car that I can drive, and yours is going to suck next year. So that's my prediction anyway.
Okay.
All right. With that being said, let's move on from our news and Conlon. Let's go ahead and knock out both your topics.
Okay. I'm going to do Stick first. So it's a Apple TV show that looked really interesting to me. Owen Wilson is the main character, and he plays a retired PGA pro that retired based on some tragic event. From what I can tell, I think his son died, but they haven't really gotten into that. They've just hinted on little things. And he's now selling golf clubs. He's a pro at a golf store. That's what he's doing. And he's really, really good at the sales aspect of it, but the rest of his life is kind of a mess. He has a house that's just a disaster all the time. He drinks too much. Like, he's got some problems. He has enough money because he does the professional thing when he is professional, but that's about it. And he comes across this kid who's sneaking into a golf range, and he's just amazing. And they actually have the kid playing golf. He's swinging correctly. They paid attention to the little details. He is incredible. This kid is like a prodigy, amazing, and they don't know why he doesn't play amateurs. Owen Wilson says, you know what? I want to help this kid succeed. And so he fights with an overbearing mother who's trying to keep this kid out of golf. And she's really worried because her husband left. We don't know exactly how yet. And it caused a lot of trauma and caused her to want to hold on to this kid super, super tight. And he wants to help his mom, so he's just going to work some dead-end retail job, make sure that the bills are taken care of, and mom has enough, instead of going and using this talent that he has. Owen convinces this kid and this family by giving up a lot. Like, he gives them money, he does a lot of different things and says, I want to help this kid. I believe in this kid. I'll take him on the road. I'll pay for everything. And then give me a percentage when he starts winning. So they go out on the road, and you have this adventure of like a mentor, and you have the kid. The kid's kind of arrogant, but when he messes up, he realizes, okay, I do need to shift things a little bit. His mindset isn't great. When he hits it into the water, he starts getting in his head and starts missing shots and doesn't act like a pro. And Owen is trying to teach him to win the battle in his head and become something greater. I like all of this. And the first couple episodes are really enjoyable. And if it would have stayed like the first couple episodes, I'd be like, Josh, you need to watch this show. That's when Zero comes into the show. And I've never had one character, even yellow-haired guy from Demon Slayer, that quite ruins the show like Zero does. She is like the ultimate feminist lefty, which is fine. Like if you're that kind of person, those characters exist, whatever. But she is so in your face, and it is so bad, which sucks because this show has a lot of promise. Like I really like it when Zero is not anywhere near the show at all. Her name is freaking Zero. Her name is Zero. It's just, it's got a lot of heart. It's a lot of passion. I like Owen Wilson. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I like Owen Wilson. And I was really excited for this, and unfortunately, they just added a bad character and kept it from being something that could have been really great.
Character, but yeah.
Have you seen it?
As much as you have, yeah. I also just stopped watching.
Okay. Did you like it up until...
I thought it had, like you said, the beginning is promising. I don't think it's a super great beginning, but it's not bad. And I think that what they're doing and building had promise. But when they actually go on tour, it's like everything kind of feels flat.
That's fair.
And then you have like a bad character on top of it, and it's like, okay, this could have been a really good show. It's a golf show. I'm a golfer. All of the things were lining up. Like, this could be really good. Just landed flat. And
like they stopped focusing on the golf and they had to focus on the mom's dogs, and then Zero's just absolutely annoying everything about this character.
Yeah.
I don't actually understand why the main kid would even like her, because she's not very attractive, she's annoying, she's mean, like she's just a nasty character. I can't think of anything that would be attractive about this person at all. Even if you believed the same stuff that she believed, she would still just be somebody I'd be like, I don't really want to hang out with you. And why you would write that character, I don't know. Unfortunately. Focus on the golf. Anyway, I feel like I'm the guy who's like, I guess I just watched some bad stuff this week. Sorry, guys. My next show was also incredibly disappointing. Josh, do you like Die Hard?
I love Die Hard. It's the best Christmas movie ever.
What makes Die Hard great?
Everything. The writing, the acting, the plot. The Christmas hope.
Yeah.
The stories of Jesus and Santa Claus. It's all there. It's all great.
I agree. The competence
music,
of your main person, like
it feels like a real person struggling, and
yeah. The main bad guy is smart and witty, like well written.
Yeah.
So the cleaner took Die Hard and was like, what if we traded all of that good stuff for shit? That is the cleaner. You have your main character, who is Daisy Ridley.
Okay.
And honestly,
number one.
She does an okay job. And she's a window cleaner on the outside of the building. And at the very beginning, you're like, oh, the heist is coming. This is kind of cool. She's on the outside of the building. How's she going to get inside? That's kind of cool. Maybe she'll climb up the rope. Like, well, let's see what happens. The bad guys take over this building, and they are environmental nut jobs. The people who own this building are big oil tycoons, and they want to stream these oil tycoons admitting to all the negative things that they have done. Sure, whatever. Like, that's fine. Kind of formulaic. Cool. Daisy is stuck on the side of the building, And you know what Daisy does to get inside of the building? Nothing. Nothing at all. She just stays on the side of the building and then paints the building with flammable material and starts it on fire so people see a big SOS in the sky and then the cops can show up. And she tries to hit the glass with a wrench so that she can break it. The glass on the outside of skyscrapers is extremely thick and very, very dense. But when she wants to talk through the glass to the bad guy, she can talk no problem at all, and they can hear each other really, really well. Isn't that great?
Sounds like lip readers.
Kind of. And she listens to all the important parts to the story, so you know what's going on in the story. And then she goes back to sitting on her bench that's in the sky. And she has this brother who's autistic, and he's inside of the building with her, and he has a Thor hammer because I guess he has a Thor hammer. And she convinces the cops that she's not the bad guy. So they have a sniper, and the sniper shoots one of the windows. It puts holes in the windows, and she can't break it with a wrench. But all of a sudden, one of the bad guys shows up, and is going to get her. So the guy with his little Thor hammer hits the window, and the window explodes.
You said it was a Thor hammer, so...
Oh, yeah. It's probably the real Thor hammer. That's what I missed out. He is Thor. Wow.
We forgot.
This movie's awesome.
It's Marvel.
Whoa. It's a Marvel movie. It's so good. She is at the same time completely useless, and when she needs to be, incredibly good at whatever she needs to be good at. And there's no explanation. She failed out of the military because her military leader was jealous that a woman was better at military stuff than he was. And so she failed out. But yet she can do basically anything. When she's shooting with a pistol, and she's at the very top, she's trying to warn people and get them to run away. So she shoots a guy's water bottle from 100 yards away with a pistol. Bullshit. Nope.
See, no problem. This sounds like an awesome
awesome
Daisy
movie.
Ridley movie, so...
Dude, I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I really approached this with goodwill. The whole climate objective was so force-fed and awkwardly force-fed because they're yeah, that guy's really bad, but the world is definitely dying and everything that he's saying is true, but he's really bad. He's a bad guy.
So was her profession a window cleaner, but she just so happened to have this background, and so she was able to be able to do everything?
Yeah. And has she been practicing shooting or anything?
Actually gave her a background that would lead to shooting skills?
They tried.
Oh, okay.
They tried. They made her in the military.
Do that in Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. They learned from Star Wars, I guess. I don't know. The bad guy was really lame. The forced political stuff could have been done well, but it wasn't. She takes out all of the henchmen without any problems at all, but can't get into the building. Can't even climb up to the roof. They don't just... Okay, she's sitting on this platform, right? And they could literally just go, boop, and she'd be dead. But instead, they drop a drone and blow up this platform that she's on. They don't just shoot her. There's a part where the main bad guy is talking to her through the glass, and she is pointing the gun at his head. And for the life of me, for the life of me, she doesn't shoot the bad guy. The bad guy is right there, and he's like, shoot me. Well, come on. I'm right here. Just shoot me. No reason at all. I can't think of a single reason why she wouldn't just shoot him. Later in the story, he gets this wristband where if his heartbeat stops, the entire building blows up. But he's a psychopath, so he's going to blow up the whole building to prove that the climate problem's a real problem or something. And so at the very end of the movie, she's fighting this main bad guy. and she somehow magic tricks the wrist thing off of his wrist onto her wrist. So now it senses a heartbeat, so it won't blow up the building, and then he falls to his death, and that's the end of the movie.
I'm just like imagining it's a Fitbit.
That's kind of what it looks like. Basically, a Fitbit is the big device of this movie, and they have the glass break, and they don't like. There's nothing thrilling about this movie, literally at all. There's the part where she slides down, and oh no, she's gonna fall off the building. Wait, she didn't, because she's the main person.
My question here is, why did you watch this in the first place? What was the allure to you?
The trailer looked pretty good, and like, I think you could do. The
trailer looked pretty good. The drone exploding was in the trailer.
Was the drone exploding in the trailer? Oh, that's so bad. That's funny. I didn't realize that. I don't know. The trailer looked pretty good to me. I was like, I like Die Hard. They could do something interesting here. Let's give it a shot. Did I have a lot of hopes? No. Did I think it was going to be this bad? No. This was... It's not like Looney Tunes that made me enraged last episode. This was just like... What? Why would you have her point the gun at the guy? Like... His face is right here.
And not have her shoot the glass.
Yeah. So that you could get into the building. Something. But instead you're just like, I'm a big action hero, so my big thing is going to be writing SOS and being like, help me, help me.
I was just thinking how funny would it be if they like go to the top where the thing is and like override the controls and just slowly lower her back down.
That would have been hilarious.
Okay, Conlon, it's time. Big question.
Yeah.
What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
No one should watch this movie. This is a 1. It doesn't even have the cool artwork.
Does it get a point for how we've made fun of it?
Yes, 2. Gets a 2. And then the other show, Stick. A 5. It's like totally mediocre. 5.
Yeah. Okay, Lauren.
Okay, so this is a movie, Better Off Dead. It's what, like, if you want to know what my humor is, it's this movie. This is, I think it's 80s?
1985.
Yeah, so it's an 80s movie. And the whole shtick of the movie is this kid, his girlfriend breaks up with him because there's another guy who skis faster than he does. And so he doesn't make the team, and his girlfriend goes for like the captain of the ski team. So he wants to try to win her back by getting better at skiing. And then there's, of course, this French exchange student across the road who, I don't know if she like helps him ski, but it's so funny because I love skiing and I've taken a lot of people on their first times to go skiing. I've worked at ski resorts, and I quote it all the time because there's this one point he gets up at the top of the mountain and he has this person who's supposed to be training and go down this mountain. And he's like, okay, tell me what to do. And he's like, okay, you go down that way, and if something gets in your way, turn. And so, like, to break the ice with anybody that I'm teaching how to ski, I just say that to them. And they're like, oh yeah, thanks. But it's a really good icebreaker. I quote this movie all the time. There's this one line that I don't know that it would make it into anything nowadays, but he somehow ends up in the back of this trash truck, and there's like these older guys seeing him like drive away, and they're like, they threw away a perfectly good white boy. So like they're seeing him go. It's just, It's very goofy. It's not serious at all. There's a one point they're up on the mountain and there's like snow, and this guy snorts it and he's like, "Do you know the street value of this mountain?" It's just it's so dumb. Uh, and then yeah, you have like this one kid who is getting papers, like will throw papers to people, and he's trying to get his money for the paper from the sun. And like throughout the movie you just see him in more and more like weird situations that this kid trying to get the money for the paper should not be in. Like he's in the middle of his race going down the mountain and here comes this kid with his bike asking for his $2. It's yeah, I really like it. It's just a goofy, funny movie, and I'm guessing you guys haven't seen it.
No, which I love John Cusack, and
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
Oh,
I've
it's
heard of it. I've never seen it. I'm looking at the cast right now. John Cusack, Curtis Armstrong, and David Odin Steers. Uh,
yeah,
like that's a pretty dang good cast for 1985.
yeah, and it's just like a whole bunch of like little side stories too that are going on. Like the wife's really bad at cooking, and that gag goes throughout the whole thing. Like at the very beginning, he's like, "Why did you boil the bacon?" And she's like, "Well, you didn't like the fat of fried bacon, so I boiled it." And it's just like stuff like that. There's a lot of one-liners in it. Um, I just watched it because I was looking for something to watch, and I remembered I really liked this, and I would tell people to watch Better Off Dead to kind of get my humor, because I've had a lot of people try to guess what my humor is, and sometimes it just falls flat because they I don't know how to best describe my humor except for like Better Off Dead. Almost all of the jokes get me.
It's
So
got Chosen from um, what's it called? The Karate Kid show, Cobra Kai.
oh, why am I? Oh, is that like a character's name chosen?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know,
yeah.
but yeah, you guys should watch it. I think it's
I'm
like it
going
might
to
not
watch it.
it might
I
not
lo-
be your favorite, but
I
it's
love John Cusack. I love 80s movies.
Me too. This sounds
Probability of me
great.
at least enjoying this pretty well is pretty high.
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I don't think you'll regret watching it. Do I think it'll be like your most favorite movie? Probably not, but I don't think you'll.
Is it your most favorite movie?
We all know that's Thunderbolts.
No,
A 50.
for real. Do you have a favorite movie?
Thunderbolts. Right now it has to be.
Wow.
Yeah. I when it was put on the list, I watched it twice in 1 week. After I'd watched it twice in theaters and then a secret third time.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will absolutely watch it. The Sure Thing is one of my favorite movies ever, and I like John Cusack a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like a baby in this one. He's so young. But
Okay, big question for you. Scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate this movie?
probably an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I've watched it several times and I'll probably continue to keep watching it.
That's
Very,
awesome.
very nice. Alright, we're going to hit my second topic. Uh, I watched for the very first time, which this movie's been out for a little while, so kind of surprising I waited this long. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. It's the newest one currently out. It's a movie I pre-ordered, and I got the UHD special edition with all the bonus features, and then proceeded to never watch until this week.
Seemed like you were excited. Why hold
I
off?
was so excited. I love Godzilla. I love even the stupid ones.
Where he uses
I was
like the tree
very
for a
into
toothbrush.
very excited for it. Came out, it got added to my Amazon Prime. I just like, for whatever reason, kept like, oh, I'll watch it later. I'll watch it later, and then forgot about it. That being said, if this was one to skip, it's one to skip. It is my least favorite of the MonsterVerse movies,
Okay.
and that's really hard because it's most people's favorite.
Wow.
It looks the best visually, but there's certain things that I feel like most people want in a Godzilla movie, and that's Godzilla fighting another monster around some like monument and destroying it, or like destroying a city or whatever. But they take it into the inner Earth that they discovered in Godzilla vs. Kong. And so they do some stuff on the surface, but it's not really there. And then the human stories are some of the worst human stories in any Godzilla movie. And, like, that's saying a lot. They're all so generic. Insert scientist falling in love with some news reporter, and the news reporter is research, like, so generic. And they have all these puzzle pieces, like the girl from Skull Island, and being the only survivor. Like, they could have just told her story and built all this stuff around it, and it would have been, like, really interesting. But, like, I just told you her whole story. She's the only survivor, and then at the end, she finds some more people like her, but she doesn't go with them. That's
That's
it.
dumb.
Her quote-unquote scientist mom is very concerned about her not wanting to stay with her. But that's literally only shows up for like 2 seconds, and that's it. They took some characters that were like my least favorite from Godzilla vs. Kong, and they're like the only characters in this one. Like, visually, like I said, most impressive. Score-wise, I think this one's the most modern and like hits the hardest and is very, very cool. But they just didn't give me my Godzilla wants, and then the stuff that they did give me, I didn't really like. It's not a bad movie. It's still a Godzilla movie. It's just you have Godzilla, Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and now this one. There's 5 of them. I think this one's just the worst one of them.
What is your ranking of those?
Of those, so this one would be the worst. Then I would give it the first one.
Okay.
And then I would go Skull Island, then Godzilla vs. Kong, and then Godzilla King of Monsters is on top.
Skull. Oh, never mind. I was thinking of King Kong. Never mind.
It is King Kong.
Well,
it is
yeah,
King
but
Kong.
there's like the King Kong with Jack Black.
Yeah, that
Oh.
one's terrible.
That's why I was like, why is this making the list? Godzilla wasn't even in it. But then I forgot.
Godzilla's not in Skull Island either.
Oh,
That's a King Kong movie. That's just, it builds up to when Godzilla fights King Kong. It gives you a lot of context. It's actually pretty good. I really enjoy it. All of them are 7s or better, except for the first one and this one. I would give 6s. So, still pretty good. I'm not mad that I watched it. This is just not going to be one that I rewatch, and even though they're continuing the story from this one onto the next one, which I'm so excited for the next one, because they're bringing back one of my favorite characters, or one of my favorite monsters,
Which one?
Mechagodzilla,
Oh, okay, cool.
the giant robot Godzilla. There was a screenshot leaked of how he looks, and it looks awesome. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's just traditionally I would rewatch or reread things to make sure I have all the context. I'm not gonna do it with this one. I will do that for the first one, so that's how the difference there is.
Is this the pink Godzilla? The pink spine Godzilla?
Yes. Which I think looks great. Like, all the CGI and special effects in this one are amazing. It's great. It's just the story, the Godzilla-ness of it is just not there for me. And with that being said, let's jump into our shared topic. I'm going to start with the older one. Um, Godzilla 98. Conlon, I would love for you to start.
Okay. So I rewatched this movie. I haven't seen it in a really long time. And I have to admit that it's not as good as I remembered. I'll admit that, I'll be honest. But I still think it gets way too much hate, to be honest. There are a couple things that I really don't like about it. One, the main scientist guy, our main guy, he's carrying the pictures of his ex-girlfriend from years ago that ghosted him and like abandoned him. Why? That's pathetic. It's pathetic, and it makes me not like the character, and I actually didn't bug me as much when I watched it before as it bugged me this time. It's been years, dude. It's supposed to be sweet or whatever. It's not sweet. Then she shows up and she just steals evidence from him. And the tape that gets stolen is literally marked top secret. Don't steal this. And so she's like, I'm just going to take that. And it's like, why, right in the open, please steal me. And it's pretty ridiculous and corny. A lot of the United States people seem inept, to be completely honest. The French people are the only people that seem like they know what they're doing. But there's this French military secret service type people that are just happen to be in our country. Godzilla is not Godzilla. And I watched a review that made the point that this Godzilla would be a lot more interesting as one of the kaijus fighting against Godzilla. And I think that's a great point. Because I think as a kaiju movie, this actually works really well. I think it's a very enjoyable movie. Yes, it's corny. Yes, it's cheesy, but very enjoyable. The fear. Well, this Godzilla is not as intimidating as our Godzilla from 2014. They're just not the same level. That Godzilla is a lot more scary. The laser breath is more terrifying. All of it is more fearful. But this Godzilla creature, this lizard creature, that can self-replicate and can literally just take over the Earth is scary. This is very much a Jurassic Park. It feels like a Jurassic Park kind of movie. It doesn't feel like a Godzilla movie. So you have this very famous Jurassic Park franchise, and they're like, how can I take a piece of that? Oh, we're basically just going to make a T-Rex that can self-duplicate inside of New York City. That is not terrible. And it actually makes for a pretty enjoyable time. And once I get past the girlfriend really sucks, I enjoy the characters all well enough, and it makes for an enjoyable... I enjoy the human characters in this more than I do at Godzilla movies. Not saying a lot, I think. I don't really like the human characters in the Godzilla movies. And it makes it so, as a whole, this is an enjoyable package that I don't think deserves the amount of hate that it gets. The end is super thrilling. The little T-Rex creatures look really good. The basically Velociraptor type creatures, they look really good. The ending's super enjoyable. The main Godzilla creature looks really good. They do a good job of making the entire movie really dark so you don't see the flaws in his CGI as much, which I really like. They made a couple smart choices in it. The dialogue's pretty good. It's just an enjoyable movie. I still had a good time with it.
I'm glad you said...
Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
This used to be like an actual 8. Like, I loved this movie. I would probably give it just below a 7 for me. Like a 6.8, 6.9. Did drop quite a bit.
Okay, Lauren.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny because my first note on this is it would be a better Jurassic movie than a Godzilla movie.
Absolutely.
So,
if it wasn't called Godzilla, I don't think it would get nearly as much hate as it does.
Exactly. Yeah, because the model isn't on model for how Godzilla as Godzilla. So it's a different model and fits more like the T-Rex, the Velociraptor. Um, yeah, I remember the CGI being way better. um, but I actually like I felt more connected to these characters, even though like I didn't like the romance portion.
It's fair.
Didn't do anything for me. I think they could have had no history before, and then she could have like seen him on TV and just been like, he looks like a nerd. I could probably like get some answers from, and that
That
would
would
have
have been
been
better.
better. Yeah. um, but I really do like in like the 90s, 80s, earlier, when they weren't quite confident in their CGI, where they would hide the monsters. So like at the very beginning, like you see all of the destruction and stuff that Godzilla is doing. And I feel like that impacts me more of like there is something more I don't know. And maybe it's because like I have such an active imagination. I feel like those are scarier to me than when they show me the monster.
Yeah,
And so uh I really
I agree.
liked the beginning of this movie where like you see the destruction on the ship and like you can see the like how big he is based on the scratch marks on the side of the ship and things like that. But I think that once again, like that defeats a Godzilla movie where your Godzilla movies are you want to see him fighting and like destroying things and not just like seeing the aftermath.
Yeah,
So once again, I agree this isn't a good Godzilla movie. Um, but I also agree with you that it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets. But there was one scene that I thought was really cool where he's turning a corner in New York City and he like brushes up against this corner and you see all of this like debris coming and he's like coming through the debris, but you still don't get a good look at Godzilla. And I was like, I love that little trick. That was really cool.
me too.
Um, but yeah, otherwise, like, I'm same with you. Like I watched this when I was gosh, probably like 8 or 9. I think that was the
Sure.
last time I watched it. And I was like, yeah, that was really good. I loved it. And then watching it again, I'm like, okay, yeah, it wasn't as great as I thought. I remember being terrified of the little Godzillas. But
They're freaky.
I was like watching it this time, they look kind of goofy to me, like especially when they're like rolling around on the basketballs and the gumballs and stuff.
That part was a
Um,
little cheesy.
yeah. And I was like, okay, I feel like you could just shut a door and you'd be fine. um, but yeah, I would probably give it a 6.
Yeah, it's
So
a creature feature. It's a an
yeah,
enjoyable enough creature feature.
I felt like it was a little too long. I feel like they could have cut some things out,
I agree. It could have
but
been a little bit shorter.
yeah,
This could have been better than it was. It
yeah,
could have been better.
yeah.
Okay,
I
Josh.
agree with you. It could
Okay.
have been better. This was my first experience with Godzilla. I watched it for the first time, probably around the same time you guys did. And it made me think Godzilla was stupid. And I didn't watch another Godzilla movie for a very long time, which I think is terrible because there's so much Godzilla and it's so good and can be so good that I was missing out on that part of my life for a very long time because of this movie. I'm going to start with the positives. The positives are I agree with you, the worst part about this movie is that it's called Godzilla. If it wasn't called Godzilla, I still wouldn't like it, but I would understand the little cult that appreciates it, right?
Okay.
I would be like, okay, I get it. I still think it's bad, but I can see where you're coming from. Like, there's a number of those movies out there that people just love, guilty pleasures, that kind of stuff. I would understand that. But it is called Godzilla. And here's why I think that even if it wasn't, it is still bad. You talked about the size, Lauren. Except, what size is it? Because apparently it's small enough that it can hide in a tunnel under a baseball stadium and have a bunch of babies and nobody can find it. But at the same time, it's big enough to run over and jump on top of buildings the size of the Empire State Building. So tell me, what size is this Godzilla?
I will agree that his size was very fluid in
Was
this
very
movie.
so
I did
it
notice
can
that.
hide under the baseball stadium to have all of its babies, but the people in the car can hide in the Brooklyn Tunnel, a freaking 6-lane highway, and they're like, "Oh no, we're safe. It can't get in this tunnel." It's stupid. It is so unbelievably stupid. Oh, okay. We don't know enough about this lizard monster that is attacking New York City, and we can't find him. So who are we going to call? An amphibian expert? No. A pet store owner that sells lizards? No. There's the guy who's an expert on worms in Vietnam. Let's go get that guy. Unbelievably stupid. You talked about the human characters. Every character in this is moronic and stupid, and the only thing that they can do is make a joke about the main character's name. Do you know how, like, 12 times in this movie they joke about how nobody can say this guy's last names? How stupid is that garbage? Okay, it's a Godzilla movie. Let's bring it out. What are we gonna do? That's a lot of fish. It is not okay. It's so bad. Okay, if we really get into it, right? Okay, I'm gonna go on another positive. I'm gonna give you a really good positive. The practical effects are amazing. The fact that they actually built models and used minis and destroyed like actual buildings looks really, really great. And then they put some of the worst CG on top of it. There's that scene where he breathes fire. That was not the original plan. They literally put that in post because they were like, lasers don't make any sense for Godzilla. It's gotta be fire.
I wish
So
they
it
would have just
looks
left that out completely.
terrible. It is so, so awful. And you think, okay, well, why did they make these changes? Why did they turn this Godzilla movie into not Godzilla? Well, they literally had to double the director. There's two of them. They doubled the director's salary, and they said, okay, if we're gonna make it our way, and we hate Godzilla. So everything that is Godzilla's strength, like the fact that he doesn't eat fish, and he's tall and slow, and all of these things, they're like, no, Godzilla's now gonna be fast, because that's scarier, and he's gonna have fire breath, because that's scarier, and all of this kinds of stuff. And so they literally were like, they're coming off the popularity of Jurassic Park. Like, that comparison can't be clear enough. I would not be surprised if at Paramount the director said, we're gonna turn Godzilla into the new Jurassic Park.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Because there is shot-for-shot redos of the Jurassic Park films, and I haven't even seen Jurassic Park, and I can still see that. That looks familiar. I've seen that. So, it's Jurassic. Oh, there's another Jurassic Park. Oh, there's another Jurassic Park. You talked about the French being competent. The French aren't competent in this movie. They're moronic. They're just less moronic than the U.S. military, which, by the way, the military has a higher destruction count in this movie than Godzilla does.
That is true.
So, like, this is just a terrible, terrible movie. And like I said at the very beginning, if it was called something else, I would still think it was bad. But you called it Godzilla, and your creators, your producers, and your directors hate Godzilla.
Why would you do that?
So of course this is a bad movie. It is for sure a bad movie. 2 out of 10. And the only reason it gets a point is because the practical effects, I must say, look very, very good.
Would you be down for this Godzilla to be a kaiju that Godzilla fought?
No.
No? Okay.
Because Godzilla is something else, right? He's not a T-Rex. His name, Gojira, literally translates to ape whale. He's a titan. He doesn't feed on food. He feeds on radiation. He has big laser beam breath. Like, King Kong is a giant monkey. Mothra, they're like these ridiculous things. Huge things. And this one's just a dinosaur who can change its size incredibly. Like, amazing that it can do that. But I think the bridge has been burned there, and you already have so many kaiju monsters that you could put in a Godzilla film that you really don't need to go there.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Did I sway you at all with any of my arguments?
This is one of the few times where I can see exactly what you're saying, but I still enjoy this movie. But I think you have a lot of fair points. They could have even had this Godzilla, because it is completely different. That ability is kind of a shrinkage or an expansion or a snake type of thing where you can go into very small areas that are smaller than it should be able to fit. But they don't mention any of that, so I can't give that as a positive when it could have been a positive.
To have camouflage.
That could have been cool too.
Gecko. That was in the original pitch of what they were going to do.
They should have done that. That would have been cool. They had a lot of options that they didn't do, unfortunately. But no, I still enjoyed this movie.
I kind of had to force myself to watch, and I don't even think I watched all of this movie.
And you're still giving it a 6?
You're right, 4.
Okay.
Because
Small victory.
Because I was like trying to think of if I would watch it again, and I don't think I would. So I'm putting it below Black Panther.
Would you rather watch Black Panther or this? I would rather watch this than Black Panther, personally.
That's tough. Probably Black Panther because I haven't seen it in as long as this. I would watch Black Panther, and the next time I'd watch Godzilla if I had to, and then the next time it would be Black Panther. So at this point, Black Panther.
So it sounds like you're landing on a 5, not a 4.
Yeah.
If they're interchangeable like that.
Because if it was a 4, you'd always be like, I have to watch one of them. I guess I'll watch Black Panther.
That's what I think it's a 4 because I'm like, if you make me watch, if you're like, hey, you have to watch Black Panther, or like you have to watch, if I just watch Black Panther, I don't want to watch Black Panther again, so I'd maybe watch Godzilla.
Okay, you have to watch one of them 5 times in a row. Which one do you pick?
Black Panther.
Okay. I would pick this one over Black Panther, without a doubt.
It's just so long. I think Black Panther's shorter.
It might be. I don't know.
I think this one was like
this one's 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So
Time is 2 hours 25 minutes.
It did not feel that long to me.
Oh, it felt that long.
Maybe you zoned out, and maybe that's why it didn't
Maybe.
bother
You got a little power nap in there.
Yeah. Black Panther is 2 hours and 14 minutes, so it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
So at least the mediocrity, by the end, you'll be like, I saved like an hour.
Yep.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. All
I
right, then
might
let's
drop it to like a 6.5, something like that. I don't know. It's
just give it a
still not great.
six. You're
6.
raising
Okay.
it.
I'll give it a
You've
6. No,
raised it to a 6.5. What are you talking about?
Lauren lowered it, so I'm raising it.
I had a 6.8, 6.9 when I
Oh,
first
that's
talked
right.
about it.
Yeah.
6.5 I think is actually pretty fair.
Okay. Small victories. I'll take it.
Small victories.
All right, let's switch over to our next topic, which clocks in at 2 hours 17 minutes.
Ooh.
Godzilla, King of Monsters. Lauren, why don't you get us started on this one?
Okay. I feel like I'm that white girl that the monsters can understand my intent to want to pet them. And so they wouldn't hurt me. Especially Mothra. I really like I loved Mothra. And I feel like it would understand that I just wanted to pet it.
That is not where I thought this review would ever start at all. Not on my bingo card.
It was so funny.
When I watched this movie, all I wanted to do was pet Mothra. Okay. Okay.
I think Mothra was my favorite.
Mothra is my favorite too.
It was just so funny because Josh sent me like a TikTok that was like every white girl believes that animals will know their true intent and they'll let them pet them, and I was like, yep. And that's basically I feel like the one monster that was in Mexico, I feel like it would understand I just wanted to ride. The other ones that look all spidery, it's fine if they want to stay away from me. That's fine. But I did put that. I don't know if I just didn't get into the human stories this time, because is there another movie before this that I'm supposed to? Okay, because I was like, I feel like I'm missing a lot from these characters.
You're
So
not really missing that much. It's the main
You're
guy
not.
and the main doctor lady had a son that was killed by Godzilla in Godzilla 2014.
oh, okay. And then
That's the point.
okay, and then I think it's just because Millie Bobby Brown, I don't know. I don't hate her as an actress, but like I didn't see her meshing well in this movie. She just kept pulling it out, the focus. And then yeah, I think they did really good with their CGI and like the monster battles. Um, and then I kept thinking like, because I know in the Godzilla, the one in 1998, it's Godzilla was because of the radiation made him bigger or whatever, and I wasn't quite sure if like all of these other monsters were. I know they kind of went into how they came about and that they were releasing them, but I was like so caught on the fact that I was like, wait, was Godzilla made by the radiation? But yeah, so I think it was a different storyline that I wasn't caught up on. So I was
There's some nerdy Godzilla lore. Like you should watch Godzilla 2014 and then Skull Island and then this one.
okay.
If you really wanted to get into the monster lore, it's there. It's really not that impressive. Basically, all of them except for Ghidorah is a ancient Earth species that at one time or another ruled the world. But
Yeah, because I think I was just getting like hung up on that, and then the mom's motivation for things was making me like pulling out of it, and so I kind of just stopped paying attention when the humans were on screen, and then would watch when they would start fighting. So, which was cool. I thought it was how the three-headed dragon or whatever when he like picked
Ghidorah.
when he picked up Godzilla and flew him up and then dropped him. I was like, oh, that would have been way more impactful when he hit if he took him up that. I'm like, they're all dead. Nope, they're gone. I was like, that was a smart tactic, though. Good on him. But yeah.
So what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Um, I don't think this was my type of movie. I think I would rate it a 6. Because like I probably wouldn't watch it again, but I'm putting it up above uh Black
98.
Panther because it is it is pretty. I do like the CGI and like that stuff, but that's I don't really watch movies to watch monsters fight that much. So like I said, it's not catering to me, but it was very well done, so I give it a 6.
Cool. Okay, Conlon, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I I know I give Josh crap on this podcast and in real life and basically every chance that I get, but I do actually care about Josh. I was like, he really likes Godzilla. So I'm going to put in an effort and I am going to watch 14, Skull Island, King of Monsters, and versus Kong all this week. And I did. Um, I don't think Godzilla is my thing. I like -1 way better than any of these movies. And I think it's because I really like human characters that I can get into. And these movies all have absolutely awesome fights. And there is no reason that you should watch any of the rest of the movie, in my opinion. Go watch YouTube clips of the fights of this movie. You will have a great time. If there is a YouTube clip of all the fights in this series, I would absolutely rewatch that because that would be awesome. Godzilla 14, in my opinion, the Bryan Cranston character should have just been the lead of that movie. It would have been a better movie. But he wasn't, so it kind of makes that movie, I don't care about the humans again, with the end fight being genuinely super cool. The laser at the end of that movie is absolutely freaking awesome. Straight up, I love the dark atmosphere of the end of that fight. It's really cool. Kong Skull
Real
Island.
quick.
Yeah.
Lauren, you might actually like Godzilla 2014 better.
You would.
Because most of its movie is the build up to Godzilla's arrival. I think he only has like 13 minutes of screen time in that one. So it's all about everything that's building up to his showing on screen.
The director was heavily inspired by Jaws and wanted Godzilla to feel kind of like Jaws. So you have a lot of that. You don't really see the monster. Where is he coming? Where is he going to strike? Kind of an aspect to the movie, which works. It works well in that movie, and it's makes it more enjoyable. And every single time you're not with any human characters, it's pretty good. Skull Island is... I should like more than I do, and I don't know why I don't on that one.
Because of the human characters. Your main
Probably.
two characters are Brie Larson and what's his
Tom Hiddleston.
And they both give very lackluster. Like Hiddleston's character should be really good, but he's not. Brie Larson is just Brie Larson, what you've come to expect, feminism power, and your best character gets killed off as soon as they get to Skull Island.
Yeah. So it's just... Yeah. King of the Monsters... I don't like the humans, and then the mom, I don't understand her motivation, and when she gets like a redemption in the last 10 minutes, it actually made me angry. It was the only one of the times where with the humans I was pretty indifferent, but this one I was like, what the... She hasn't earned any of this. She's the reason for all of these problems. All of them. Kill her. Shoot her in the face. What are you doing? I don't care if she's the mommy of our main character. Kill her. Godzilla, can I like whisper in your ear, please smash that bitch? Because that's what I wanted to do. I don't like her. But the monster fights in that one were really cool. Straight up. I liked Mothra a lot. I thought Mothra visually was beautiful. Like, the design for Mothra was incredible. I liked the Mothra sacrificing herself. Is it a she? I don't know.
Herself. She's the queen of monsters. Godzilla's the king of monsters.
Okay. I liked Mothra sacrificing herself to be able to get Godzilla back up. I thought Godzilla going into nuclear superpower was a little cheesy, to be completely honest. But if I pulled myself out of the critic and was just like, he's freaking nuclear, let's go! Then I enjoyed that. But it was a little bit like, oh, he's now nuclear? Okay, sure. And they had to get us, go and shoot him with a nuke to come and bring him back to life. Incredibly stupid. But if I just went with it, the fights are genuinely super cool with that one. Godzilla vs. Kong was my favorite one. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to fight you on that because it's well established in Godzilla lore that he actually does feed and get healed by radiation. But
It was just not my thing. I don't know. Anyway, Godzilla vs. Kong was my favorite one. And I think that they actually did something kind of cool and very effective where you've had time with Godzilla and you've had time with Kong. So you're established and in both characters, which they've tried to do with Marvel and DC a lot. And a lot of times they fell. But with this one, I was like, I'm in it for Godzilla. I'm in it for Kong. I actually care about who wins this fight. Let's go. And it made me more invested in the movie as a whole. And the humans are just as stupid, so it doesn't really matter. And a lot of the movies get rated based on how much human is part of the movie. So, like, if there's a larger percentage of human, the movie is worse. With the exception of Kong versus Godzilla, because I genuinely care about their fight. And I think their fight is awesome. And the Mechagodzilla is freaking dope. And I agree, Josh, Mechagodzilla is absolutely awesome. And I'm sure the next movie will have an awesome fight. Because Mechagodzilla is ridiculous, nonsense, absolutely awesome freaking kaiju. And let's go. Let's fight that kaiju. I enjoyed the monster fights in it. Is Godzilla my thing? No. Do I like -1? Significantly better than all of these? Absolutely. But enjoyable enough time. All of them were better than Black Panther. All of them.
I feel like
go over your second to last note.
Oh, I love Bear McCreary. He has done some of my favorite things. The God of War soundtrack is one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. He's done Outlander. I listen to his music actively. And I thought his music was... It's not horrible, but from a talent of his caliber, I was expecting a lot more than what I got in any of these movies. I think the music is... It's fine. Super underwhelming compared to how epic what you're seeing on screen is.
What were you going to say, Lauren?
I was gonna say, I think like I would enjoy Godzilla more if I was in the mood because it feels like Godzilla has to be like, you know, when you're like in an anime mood or whatever. I feel like that's for me. I probably would have enjoyed that movie more if I was in a Godzilla mood because I remember a couple of years ago I was in like a King Kong that type of mood. So I'll have to keep these in the back of my mind for when I get back in that mood.
I forgot to say one thing. With King of the Monsters, you have the most potential there. Something that drew me out of that one a little bit is you're having this massive, ginormous fight. And there's times where the scale feels ginormous. So like, why can I remember Godzilla and three-headed Ghidorah. Sorry. Ghidorah feel huge, but then you pan over to a human element, and then you're watching them from a weird angle. And Godzilla, that normally in like 2014 feels ginormous, there are times where it's not as impactful because of the weird camera angle that they choose with the CGI. And the fact that you're always cutting to those human beings that kind of cut the tension and pull you out of the like, let's go, that you want to feel while you're fighting these monsters. So King of the Monsters, for me, didn't work quite as well because it pulled me out of the reason that I'm watching this movie more than some of the other ones I felt like did.
Okay. Did you want to go over your last note too?
Why did I write that? 1 second. I don't. I don't. Why did I write that? Son of a gun! I should have wrote more notes. You talk a little bit, Josh. I'm gonna think about why I wrote that because I don't remember.
Okay. Godzilla King of Monsters is my all-time favorite Godzilla movie, but I understand why it's not your guys's. And that's because Godzilla King of Monsters is a love letter to Godzilla fans. Specifically, Conlon, you called out this score. And there's a reason I asked you to bring that up is because of the score. The first time you see Godzilla on screen, it is actually the original Gojira track.
Oh, that's cool.
And as you see more Godzilla throughout the movie, it fades into the modern Godzilla theme. Which, when you're watching it, you'll go, well, that's pretty uneventful, especially if you compare it to the end of the movie or the next movie. But when you have that context, it's like, oh no, that's actually really cool. And there's just a lot of that in this movie. There's a lot of callbacks to other things. So, Mothra, you guys love Mothra. There's an entire scene where they're flipping through photos of this was my mother and her mother before her and all that kind of stuff. Mothra actually has these like Jesus twins. They're not actually like humans, and they're fairies, and they're always twins, and and Mothra communicates with them telepathically, so she can communicate to humans. There's a Mothra movie where Godzilla and another monster are fighting, and Godzilla shows up on screen, and they literally put subtitles for this. And Mothra shows up and is like, you guys need to stop fighting. Ghidorah's gonna kill everyone. But Godzilla's like, no, he's bad. I want to fight him. And it's like there's supposed to be two brothers fighting, but what you're seeing on screen is Godzilla roar, other monster roar, subtitles, Mothra going, ah! Grow up, stop being stupid, kids. There's a lot of like cheese in Godzilla movies, and you really just have to accept it to enjoy it. I get all of that, but this one is, like I said, the love letter to Godzilla fans. You get call outs to some popular monsters. It's the only one where I get to see my personal favorite monster, and that's Rodan. He's the pterodactyl with the volcano powers. I think he's just awesome, and it's the one where I get to see him. And Mothra is queen of the monsters, right? She's the balancing power frequently in Godzilla, who shows up to calm Godzilla down or get him to stop fighting or get him to start fighting, those kind of things. You get Ghidorah. He is actually the only one not from Earth, which is his little interesting why he's different. He's actually from Mars, which is stupid, but it feels epic. The scale is great. You get all of those little, like I said, you get to see the twins, which are actual screenshots taken from the previous films of the fairy twins throughout the years. You get the appreciation of the old theme leading into the new theme. You get to see all these monsters. So on that side of that, it's an absolute love letter to Godzilla fans, and I think that's why it's my personal favorite. If you go over to the human side, I actually think this one's the strongest human story in most Godzilla movies. If you ignore the mom, like if you look at the dad character, I think he's just the all-around best human character. Plus you have the Asian guy, which I think is one of the best scientists we've seen in Godzilla, who, does what he does. And then you have the daughter, and you say, okay, the daughter's in a situation where mom has manipulated her. I think Millie Bobby Brown does a great job playing that. It's just that the mom is such a flip-floppy, shitty character that it ruins the daughter's character as well. For I think most people, I'm able to just be like, man, if she's playing that in that situation, I think she does a great job. But you absolutely nailed it, Conlon. I think the mom is just such a poorly wish-washy character, whose motivation is just the same as Thanos, like, oh, get rid of people because people are bad for the planet. So I'm gonna team up with a terrorist, like, and then I'm gonna feel guilty when my plan is going according to plan, and it undermines the entire thing. If she would have just stayed bad when she revealed that she was bad, it would have been better. If
Much
she
better.
was a reluctant contributor, it would have been better. Ultimately, like, her motivations of releasing the monsters doesn't make sense because the monsters killed her son. She would hate them. But it would still just be better if she'd stayed one way or the other. But yeah, this one, I think the fights are awesome. You get the best filmography, right? You get Ghidorah on top of the volcano after beating Rodan and spreading his wings with all the smoke, and it's just awesome. And
Screenshot worthy, for sure.
Godzilla just like powering up and delivering absolute destruction. And you get Mothra coming in and doing her thing, and you get all of these other shots for all of these other monsters. Like I said, just an absolute love letter to Godzilla fans.
And the Mothra fight with your favorite, Rodan, and
Yeah.
is genuinely super cool. Like, that's a cool, super
Absolutely.
cool fight.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's why it's my favorite. If I were to look at it analytically, Godzilla vs. Kong is probably the best one because there's a lot more context. It does things on its own like that, but I like it a lot.
And I'm pretty sure it's the shortest, so you get the most monster versus monster instead of people. I think.
Godzilla
I'm pretty
vs.
sure.
Kong or King of Monsters?
I think Godzilla vs. Kong is the shortest one.
It probably is. King of Monsters is 2 hours 17 minutes.
I've just put in King vs. Kong.
A lot of people, when doing reviews, right, you talk about, are you a
53.
Godzilla person or are you a King Kong person? One of those really, like, tends to sway you on which ones you like better. It sounds like, Conlon, you're just a King Kong person.
I've always liked monkeys. Like,
Yeah.
I just always have since I was a kid. I probably am.
So yeah, that's what's my favorite.
That's cool.
Any last thoughts there, Conlon? Did you figure out what your note's all about? I'm very curious.
I really don't know. I wrote explaining what I think greatness is versus Jurassic Park water scene and the final of Real Still. I don't remember, but I remember that it was profound. We'll just stick it with that.
Okay.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us then. Thank you all for watching and or listening. Appreciate every one of you. Don't forget to hit the like button and or subscribe if you like our content. Comment if you want us to talk about any specific subject. If you have any recommendations for us, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Bye.
See you guys.